Hey everyone, today I'm diving deep into the ending of Oshinoko and breaking down my thoughts, especially on Aqua's fate. Just a quick spoiler alert, if you're not fully caught up, you might want to pause here and come back later, since I'll be covering the last few chapters to wrap up the series. This video will also be a bit different from my other manga ending type of videos, since it's also mostly more of a personal rant. I've got a lot to say about this ending, but yeah, let's jump right into it. So first, let's start with a quick recap of what happened in the last few chapters. Aqua's confrontation with his father Hikaru is, very intense, very tragic. We see Aqua struggling with the weight of his revenge and the lengths he's willing to go to protect his sister Ruby. The story builds on the dark themes that we've seen since the very beginning, death, manipulation, and the price of revenge. And Aqua's journey, in a sense, has always been spiraling towards a very tragic end. And the story's tone sets this up really well. So let's dive into, the biggest part of the ending, Aqua's death. Honestly, I was one of those hoping that Aqua wasn't truly gone. I was really hoping that it might have all just been a dream, or that Akane would somehow step in at the last second and save him, just like Aqua had saved her once before. I really wanted him to find happiness at the end. I wanted him to have the future he so desperately wanted. And don't get me wrong, I didn't hate the idea of Aqua dying. In many ways, it really made sense. He was completely consumed by his revenge and his need to protect Ruby, even if it meant sacrificing himself. So from a storytelling perspective, Aqua's death fits with the tragic dark tone Oshi No Ko has maintained from the start, especially if you take into account all of the foreshadowing around his potential for suicide. But here's where I have a major problem, and that's the way that he died. Personally, I hate suicide. I absolutely hate it. I'll go as far as to say I detest it. So to me, it really felt like a pointless, even stupid way for him to go. Seeing him end it all like that, after he allowed himself to dream of a future, like becoming a surgeon again, responding to Kana's feelings, calling Miyako mom, going to the beach with Himekawa, and most importantly, seeing Ruby perform at the dome. These are all things that he wanted to do. These were all his reasons for living, and yet he didn't. So his suicide, it just didn't sit right with me. And if I'm being honest, I don't think it ever will. And I get it, the foreshadowing is there, it makes sense, it's consistent with the story. But still, to have him die by his own hand after everything he's been through, it just seems so frustrating. And here's another part of Aqua's story that makes this ending feel even more tragic. The relationships he left behind, more specifically, the romances or the potential of romances that he could have had with either Akane or Kana. And to me, these were very significant because they showed how Aqua's life could have taken a different path, one that included more love and connection to these people, to these girls that obviously he had feelings for. I mean, Akane's love for him was so strong that she went to extreme lengths to understand him. She was prepared to commit murder for him, ready to go to hell just to be by his side. She really was his ride or die. And Kana too, she cared for him and also completely understood him. So he really could have had a good future. He could have quit acting if he wanted to, and obviously become a surgeon again, maybe even married an amazing actress. And he could have had it all, he could have been truly happy. And both of these relationships hinted at the possibility of happiness. Aqua was so consumed by his mission that he couldn't fully embrace either of them. And this unfulfilled romance adds even more weight to his tragic ending. After I read the final chapter, I ended up rewatching season 1, and I also reread those early volumes. I do see how Aqua's choice aligns with the story's message. Oshinoko is a tragedy through and through. So a dark, shocking end for Aqua isn't really out of place or out of character. Some readers might find it even fitting or even moving, but to me, it really wasn't. But I'll give it to the author. It's definitely a bold move, and at this current moment, I really can't think of another manga that takes this path with its main character. I think this is mainly because it forces its readers to confront those uncomfortable feelings, and that right there is pretty much a sign of powerful storytelling. At the end of the day, Aqua's death still feels pointless to me, and I don't think I could ever feel otherwise. But at the same time, it's also what makes Oshinoko so raw and, at this point, very memorable. My feelings are still mixed, probably because it feels, unresolved. And also, I just really can't wrap my head around the fact that Aqua died, like that, and with regrets. He was so consumed by his need for revenge that he didn't care about how his death would impact those who truly care for him. And I don't know why, but as I was reading that ending, it sort of reminded me of The Horizon. And The Horizon is a tragedy manhwa where the main character goes through a lot of suffering. But despite all of the suffering he went through, he's still able to find hope around him and continue living. And seeing him overcome tragedy is what makes The Horizon so powerful for me. In all honesty, this ending might have made sense, but it wasn't a good ending. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on Aqua's death and the ending of Oshinoko as a whole in the comments below. I'd love to hear if the ending left you as frustrated as it did for me, or if you actually were a fan of the ending. But yeah, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content.